Hello, second video for today. Holy cow. So this video, I want to talk about my feeling with astrology, because I think it might resonate with some people. And if it doesn't, then that's all good too. But so my feeling with astrology, and this came about because I was looking up some research articles on astrology, and I saw a summary of a research paper that basically compared the personalities of people who were born at the precise same time so that they would have the same birth charts, their rising sign, their moon sign, all of this sort of thing would be lined up, and so they then sort of looked at these people's personalities, and they didn't find any consistent trends between these people's personalities, even though they had the same birth chart. And in astrology in general, I think there's sort of an unspoken thing that it's pretty faith-based, and I think a lot of people are attracted to it who maybe have sort of a spiritual calling or a spiritual interest and don't feel included in mainstream religions and that sort of thing, which I totally get, and I think that is sort of some of the appeal that I had for it as well. But I think it's important to be aware when it's becoming a sort of faith-based system for you as well, because that can sometimes, be dangerous, and that's a lot of where people have issue with other religions, is that there's a lot of faith that leads people to do things that are not great. The other thing, honestly, that made me look this up was that I was crushing on somebody who had who had an astrological sign that is clashing with, that would be stereotypically clashing with my sign. So I was like, oh man, I don't want this to be real. So I gotta be honest, that's some of my motivation for that too. So I'm coming at this from a biased viewpoint. But this is a thought that I've had for a while. But this has just come into my mind recently because of this having a crush on somebody who astrologically would be not a good match. So anyways, so the study looked at people who would have the same birth chart and didn't find that there are any sort of personality similarities between them. And so, you can say nature, nurture, this sort of thing, but it's like, okay, if they didn't find any connections between these people, then that's a pretty strong physical indication that this is not having it's not having an impact on people, at least in terms of, it'd probably be different if people knew or were maybe paying close attention to their astrology. And I didn't read the whole article because it gave me the answer that I wanted it to give me. So this is an example also of possibly taking a research paper out of context. So So I'm just being very honest about my bias with this because that's important. But anyways, but I think astrology is really cool, and what I think, because I've gotten a lot out of astrology, and I was probably half a year ago, so for a period of a year to a year and a half, we're in the middle of 2020 now, and it was, for most of 2019, I was watching astrology videos pretty much every day, if not at least every week. And what I was getting out of it, and what I think is really cool with astrology, is that it's it tells you who you are and sort of what you need to work on. And in so many different parts of your life that you might not usually think of off the top of your head. So you can go through your birth chart and you can see what this birth chart says, how you are, what sort of characteristics you have, and when you look through that, I think that can give you really good emotional cues if you're interested in growing and changing and becoming, a better person and improving yourself or something like that, because it addresses so many aspects of your life. You can still listen to daily astrology things, and it can give you a gauge on what's important to you and what's not important to you. And so I think it's really good as sort of a self-discovery tool, and it can show you areas that are important to you and things that aren't important to you. So the sort of examples of I lost track of that thought. But where I think it can be not so great is when you're looking into other people's and then other people's birth charts, and using that to see how you match with them, because that is then sort of sticking you in stone a little bit. And it'd be interesting if I stop crushing on this person and then I end up having a separate video. But I think when you just look at things, there's not really a lot of things that you can prove with astrology to make them true, besides that importance to you. And so I think that's the area where I'm thinking about, is that astrology is a really important self-growth tool that you can use to sort of self-examine and sort of sort of explore your deeper nature, because a lot of these different, when you look at a full birth chart that sort of describes the 12 houses of your life and what things work for you or don't work for you, or where things are. It sort of just makes you aware of those parts of your life. And by putting your awareness on those parts of your life, you then start to... Man, I'm losing my train of thought on this one. Yeah, I'm pretty much blanking out, so I feel like that's a sign that I should stop talking about this. But I think if you know what I'm talking about, then that will make sense. And I don't think anybody who makes astrology videos or anything like that should stop doing that or anything like this, because I think it's when you have that identity assigned to you, it's really cool. And it then, it's like being born in a country. It's like being born in the United States. And so you're like, I was born in the United States, and what does it mean to be an American? It means to be, what do you think of the ideas associated with being American are being patriotic and being, things like that. And being patriotic is like, being into your, supportive of your group. I think that's sort of what patriotism is a really great thing. So that's something to be excited about. And then what are some bad sides of being American? Bad sides of being American, and there are lots of bad connotations, but not many particular words are coming to mind. But those bad connotations, it doesn't mean that that's who you are, but it's something that you can be aware of. But it's all made up. It's like there's no, like, the boundaries of these lines that are America are made up, and that's the same for every country, and each person is their own individual. So the identity of being American is only important on an individual level, I think, because it can be used as a tool for self-discovery. And that's what I'm basically saying about astrology, is that I think it is a great tool for self-discovery, but not identity, if that makes sense. Because everything is constantly changing in the world, right? So if you tie yourself to a particular identity, you're then sort of tying yourself to a rock through changing time. And that's gonna weigh you down, it's gonna cause you issues. But if you're using it as a sort of, as a way to, explore what you like, it's like, I think that's what I got out of astrology a lot, was I was sort of confused about where I was at in life, and when you get sort of something that tells you who you are, it sort of is like a splatter of things, and what sticks to you are things that it can show you, things that are, that you like about yourself, that you don't like about yourself, and you can then sort of, be more aware of those things. So good for self-discovery, but not great for self-identification. And again, a lot of this motivation is from wanting to not have that sort of be deciding who it is I can't be in a relationship with. So that's pretty much my thoughts on that. That's that little ramble. But I hope you're having a good weekend, a good end to the week, a good start to the week, and we will catch you around. Bye bye.